En pantalla. Gracias, Nuno.
Okay. Muchas gracias. So, mainly today I'm going to talk about S-100. I don't know how many of you are familiar to the framework of S-100, but this is mainly the way we're going to push forward all the IAGO standards from S57, so the previous standard that has been frozen since 1999, and it will change drastically what we can do. So I'll start by talking to you a little bit about the company I work for the past 12 years, 13 years, what we do in terms of S-100, what's our approach to the technology and the standard, and then some of the projects that we've been working in full dedication for a long, long time now. So we are a little bit all around in terms of solutions and services, from the land to the wet side of things, which is mainly what we're talking about today, but from surveying to GIS and location intelligence service, software solutions. With the Innovation Center, I'm going to talk about it in no time. And we've been all around for a long, long time. It's an Indian company, but we are present in the United Kingdom, United States, Canada, Middle East, Australia, New Zealand, a little bit around the world. So in terms of S-100, so normally IIC gets linked to the idea that what we do is mainly chart production and hydrographic surveys, but we do much, much more than that. And I will focus, first of all, on consulting and training, which is something that we've been heavily involved for the past 20 years. Not only working in different languages, so the training offered that we do with S5 and S8 for training capacity building and training under the S-100. We do it in English, in Espanol, in Portuguese. And we've been teaching a little bit around the world, from Vietnam to Korea, from Spain to Portugal, from the UK to United States and Canada, Vietnam, New Zealand, Australia, and now working on the S-100, which is actually not anymore the future technology, but it's the reality we have now. We've been working with ICNC, so it's a validation center. And we've been doing workshops on S-100 a little bit all around the world, from Amsterdam to Singapore, from Portugal to Brazil, from Panama to a little bit around the world. And also the consulting, which is where we start normally our work on the S-100, working directly with the partners, understanding what we have, where the partner wants to be, and how we can help him do it. We also do charting assistance with projects around the world, but I will focus in two of them, New Zealand and Canada, where we've been working with the hydrographic offices to transform the S57 data, or nautical charts and electronic nautical charts, into S-101 and S-102 products, which would be the new electronic charts for the S-101 and S-102 for the bathymetry that will be used to navigate in this new way of presenting the world digitally. We also do work on production of specific solutions that help our partners to do or to show the information the way it needs to be shown. And I'm going to give you an example. Under the S-100 umbrella, for example, for S-127, the marine traffic management that actually affects the subject that all the presentations previously talked about, we have a solution that has been already implemented and is working perfectly with the Canadian Coast Guard. And the same happens with, for example, solutions for metadata, solutions for under keel clearance, for port entrances, like we've done, for example, in Rotterdam, and also a very specific project that we've done with the International Hydrographic Organization in Singapore for harbor facilities database that I will talk I will detail later in the presentation. How do we look at S-100 and how do we think of the solution that will make it robust and solid for the long term? So we've been working with S-100 mainly since the beginning, since the framework started. Being present in all the groups that do the discussion of the standards, working groups that try to make the standard real, okay? Since the beginning, also working on the transformation of the ECDIS development for the S-100 digital navigation. So we've been participating on that group since it has been created. And our focus mainly is to make sure that the first implementation, which would be S-101, so the chart production, and the stage that will start in 2026, the dual production, where all the hydrographic agencies will have to do production in both S-100 and S-57, the previous standard, and S-101, which is the one that's going to start in no time. That will have to be done from 2026 onward. And what we do mainly is that we focus on the data. One single database with everything in it and driven by the data. So the solution is always driven by the data we have. One of the previous presentations, the question was around the way we would make it available and secure. So that's part of the framework that we base our work on. Cybersecurity, data encryption, and the capability of being read safely and securely in the new ECDIS that is being developed right now. In terms of products and services, what are we doing now in real life? So conversion training. The idea is that you don't teach people to press the button. You teach people to understand the concept, the standard, the data by itself, and actually when they press a button to produce data, they know what comes before and what's the impact that it will have on what comes next, okay? We also work with any software available in the market. We don't produce software, we don't build production software. We work with all the software available. What we do create is verification software. Once you are producing, you need to understand and make sure that you verify the work you've been doing and it actually fits this dual production standard that's going to be happening from 2026. We also do projects on metadata so that you actually know and are capable of qualifying and presenting in a secure way the data you are producing. Okay? We are also ready towards that magical moment. And what's the magical moment? The migration. We are running towards the time where what we actually will do is understand that S-57, the previous standard, will be left back in the past. Very good memory. I've worked with it for a long, long time. But this magical moment, what will give us is actually the moment where we are S-100, or in this case, S-101. And we are ready for that. Now I'm going to talk to you about a couple of projects that we've been involved in. And the first one I would like to highlight is what we've been doing with the Canadian Hydrographic Service, which is mainly picking up S-57 data, importing into a database, transforming it into S-101, so the new charting production under the S-100 umbrella, okay? And then execute any geospatial query that you need to do to make sure that your data is solid and consistent. So this is an all-around product validation. And now we introduce a new subject, which is S-102, advanced bathymetry, which is the way that we are going to navigate in a very, very near future. no more needs for sounding selections and contourings, where what the ship will look into is an advanced surface of bathymetry where all the soundings are being analyzed at the same time, and ECDIS, the new ECDIS under the S-100, will be able to read all that information. Okay, what we do actually is make sure that when we produce the chart, after the chart is produced, there's a tool that makes sure that the chart and the bathymetry meet together and all the secure safety requirements are done, and all the product is meeting with one with the other. S-102, what S-102 is a ready product, so it happens before the charting. You can work under the S-100 with a bathymetric surface, despite you have a chart or not. Okay, so this needs this confirmation I've been talking to you about. What we make available is a web-based application that allows any hydrographic office, any agency, any harbor that works, for example, with advanced bathymetry for underkeel clearance, to make sure that what they make available on S-102 bathymetry is compliant with the chart S-101. That's actually the chart that's working at the moment. So what we're talking about here is production, and after the production, 2 different products that need to be validated to make sure that safe navigation is guaranteed. Transiting into another project we've been involved for quite a while, which is the S-101, S-131, so harbor facilities. We've been since September 2021 involved in the International Hydrographic Organization Laboratory in Singapore. What we proposed was to be built a very, very strong database with all the information that harbor facilities need to make available. We've heard before about cranes, for example. We've heard about port facilities, cargo statistics. All of that will be part of the S-100 world, so that a ship with a new ECDIS, when it comes into the harbor, it actually knows has a level of information that we've never seen before. So the idea is that not only to include detailed information, but also that all the features are connected in between, so that not only when you navigate, you need a route, but when you are in a harbor, you actually need a route to all the tasks you've been doing. For this project that lasts for 2 years, we partnered with the ports of Rotterdam, Montreal, Halifax in Canada, Stavanger in Norway, Singapore, Taiwan. So some of the major harbors in the world that actually handle a huge amount of cargo and ships daily, and represent a tremendous impact on economy that can really be potentiated, can be even more enlarged with a very, very good interconnected database of harbor facilities for the S-131. So we are working on a real solution for this. Finally, one of the real offers that we have is a dual production between S-53, which is mainly the navigational warnings, that need to be transformed into S-124 under the S-100 framework. And the idea is that on a cloud base, we've developed an intuitive and highly customizable platform that has templates and already a workflow inside that allows you to produce, according to what you need, the navigational warnings in real time. And this allows you to do it in the two options, S-53 and S-124. And we know now that S-124 is one of the first keys of the S-100 world that will need to be available. because the moment that we have S-101 charts, so the new electronic charts and the new actis for electronic navigation, we need to understand that the navigational warnings will need to meet the old actis and the new actis. So this has been a heavy investment that we've been working on at IIC. We have a solution that is ready, that is being already used by some hydrographic offices and being tested by a long list of other hydrographic offices to make sure that all the templates and all the workflows that we make available fit the specific needs of each of our partners. And for a long, long time, we've been talking about this S-100 world as some kind of a space technology or rocket science, but in fact, it is not. For the next two phases that are really around the corner, we can see that most of these areas will need to be covered in the next 2 years. And we're talking about navigational charts, bathymetric surfaces, water levels, currents, navigational warnings, the catalog of the products, marine radio services, marine protected areas. On the previous presentation, Tony spoke about the idea of how this will impact the environment, and also how can we help protect the environment on the marine industry. And we can see this can see it here in this priority of S-122 marine protected areas, for example, already interconnected with S-126 for the marine physical environment, so that actually we know the area where the navigation is happening, and mainly we understand the logic of the marine traffic management and also the harbor infrastructure. And with all this data together, the more data we have available, the easier it will be to know the area we were working on and protect it and make it endurance and make sure that blue economy is actually a long-lasting activity, always growing. So the good news is we are working on it, so and ready to help. As a final message, not trying to go over the time, I would like to highlight a couple of things. One of them is we do have an innovation center since the year 2000 and has been almost fully dedicated to S-100 for the past 6 years. Okay. Besides that, all the persons that have been working with IIC under the Innovation Center have been involved heavily in working groups around the world to make sure that we know the framework and we know how to make it a reality. It's not rocket science. It's not a vague idea. It's actually a proper reality of navigation within the next 4, 5, 6 years maximum. Also, one of the things that I would like to highlight is our training experience. The fact that we train in different language, Spanish and Portuguese, it's not very easy to get available. And also that the logic that we train is not to make sure that people are operators and then can click the button. Click the button is easy, right? The idea is that people that click the button, that invest time in training, and invest time taking time of their work to learn a new technology, they understand the technology. They're capable of doing things, knowing what's the impact of what they're doing. Also, the fact that the solutions I've worked to you about are flexible and are tailored. This is not a magical solution here. It's actually something that you look into the characteristics of each of the partners and make sure that the solution is adapted to what they need. And the final one is that we are hands-on. We've been with over 50 projects under the S-100, and we'll keep on going. We've been talking to different agencies around the world, and this reality would be successful in a short time, actually earlier than we are expecting it, and it's really, really going up to speed, and we are here available to help you guys. So, muchas gracias por toda la atención. Obrigado, como se dice donde yo vengo. Es un placer tener vuestra atención. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias a ti, Nuno, por esta interesante presentación. Quiero que por favor me confirmes lo siguiente. Tú en dos oportunidades señalaste que no estabas hablando de tecnología espacial y que todo este cambio está a la vuelta de la esquina. Hasta donde yo tengo entendido, este proceso no es voluntario, sino que tiene que ser adoptado por los Estados miembros de la OHI. ¿Es efectivo eso?
Cierto, es compulsorio, sí. Va a ser un conjunto de especificaciones que van a cambiar completamente. No hay una manera de dar un paso atrás. Si vosotros tienen para tener una idea más clara de lo que estamos hablando aquí, una carta electrónica dentro del framework S-57 puede tener un máximo de 4 megabytes. Y nosotros estamos viviendo en 2025. 4 megabytes es música de muy fraca calidad. Y nosotros estamos hablando de un documento de navegación que es la principal herramienta de la seguridad de la navegación. Por eso, la hora de cambiar está ahí. Y lo mejor que nosotros tenemos es que entendemos que no es una cosa que siendo compulsoria va a obligar a un cambio en meses o días. No, el cambio ha sido preparado por los últimos 20 años. Desde 2012 que yo tengo estudiado, he oído personas hablando de S-100 a la izquierda, a la derecha, mas la verdad es que ahora sí, te confirmo que está al virar de la esquina.
Muchas gracias, Nuno. Juan Carlos, por favor, tú tienes una pregunta para Nuno.
Muchas gracias, Nuno. I would do my question in English in order to perhaps much better understand the question. I'm Captain Trias from Argentina, from the Hydrographic Service. I would like to ask you, what's your opinion related to the connection between S-124 navigational warnings and S-125 marine aids to navigations, in order to avoid to misunderstand what is the meaning of them, even if are they in the same family, and in order to avoid to overlap these two products of the S-100 family, and also was to S-200 Ayala, that it's very involved in this issue. Many thanks.
Gracias por tu pregunta, Juan Carlos. Yo voy a responder en inglés para tener la certeza que digo todo que estoy pensando y que quiero transmitiros. So when you talk about S-100, that's actually what makes the big difference here. More or less like the S-400 for the river navigation. What does this mean? That the idea of S-124, it's actually to disseminate, make sure that the information of the navigational warning gets to the mariner, okay? And that will need to be done in the two ways, okay? In the previous S-53 and now S-124. When you talk about S-125, it's so complex, the marine aids to navigation world, that will have its subsection, and that section will actually impact on the way you present the features. Although the S-125 will give you the portfolio to be presented on a chart, for example, or to be connected to S-101 chart. So the main difference is S-124 will impact the way you spread the information, make sure that the mariner knows of the navigational warnings, while when we talk about S-125, we're talking about a complex, very dense information that will surely be impacted, but always under the umbrella of S-200 and not actually directly in S-125. Did I answer the question, Juan Carlos?
Yes, thanks.
Muchas gracias.
I also think that perhaps we can misunderstood or misunderstand the real meaning of the two products, no? Because it's in a way you have got a notice to mariners, but the same notice to mariners is related to a signal or a buoy that is a lead or something similar, so that they are the same information in two different items or different products that have to link both each other, no? So that I think it's really perhaps a problem of communications, and perhaps what communication would be first to the other. So that I think it's a thing that we have to take the opportunity to talk with the persons who are very involved in these issues in order to understand this product. So, but many thanks for your answer and your presentation. Thanks.
Welcome. Just not being too technical, I would like to take just 2 seconds to make it clear here, which is when we think about S-124, we should think of the vehicle, the platform. The navigational warning can include everything from aids to navigation, to underwater works, to fire exercises, to military practice. So when we think about S-124, and this one is really around the corner, we need to make sure that we understand that it's the vehicle to put the information available to the mariner, and that's mandatory. When we talk about changing aids to navigation to this new S-100 or S-200 world, that will be done separately from the way we communicate the information.
Muchas gracias, Nuno, por tu exposición, por la aclaración de tus preguntas. Les voy a pedir también a los asistentes que estén mirando el chat, porque hay personas que están ampliando la información que está aportando Nuno. Como dijimos, es un proceso que ya es impostergable, no es una invitación a la transformación, sino que es un proceso que viene. Y en ese contexto ya hay que comenzar a tomar acción en el ámbito técnico. Y junto con eso, comentar que Nuno va a estar visitando Chile dentro de las próximas semanas. Así que si alguien quiere mayor información o contactar para mayor información técnica, lo puede hacer con Geociencias a través de su página web o a través de los correos electrónicos que le hemos enviado. Muchas gracias, Nuno.